Live and in color from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport in Texas. It's Runway DFW, the new YouTube channel dedicated to bringing you live action from one of the world's busiest airports. My name is Walt Swerko, and we are going to watch planes come in and take off and land and all that sort of stuff here on Runway DFW. Thank you very much for joining us on this Monday morning, December 27th. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth, it is 7:29 a.m. Okay, well that sets the scene. We saw a plane coming in as we were beginning our broadcast. The sun is just coming up at DFW Airport. The sunrise is at 7:30, I believe, this morning. And as you can see, it's kind of a hazy day, a hazy morning here. I'm sure that will burn off perhaps before we are finished our broadcast around 9 a.m. Let's take a look at the sky. And it's a beautiful Texas December morning. And right now, as we come on the air, there's a lull in the action. I see nothing in the sky, and I see nothing ready to take off. So perfect timing, perfect timing. Well, that will not deter us. We do know that, and perhaps one of the reasons why we're not seeing activity at the moment is because there have been a number of flight delays and cancellations due to the Omicron variant of the coronavirus. Major airlines, including American, which is the major airline here at DFW, along with Delta and United and others, have reported that they simply don't have enough flight crews available and healthy to make some of the trips as people are trying to get back home from the holidays. So we'll take a look around and see what we can see here. As I said, I don't see any action on the radar right now. It looks like we've got a Spirit Airlines flight coming over the ramp from the east side of the airport where it has its gates, and we should be able to see that flight coming over in this picture shortly. The Spirit flight is headed to Las Vegas. It's flight 2954, an A320, so we keep our fingers crossed for that. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 UPS aircraft at the UPS facility just south of here, and here comes that Spirit flight. You'll see it appearing from the left side of your screen. And it will be taking off here on the west side of the airport from runway 18 left. See how close we can get with this fogginess this morning. I don't know if it's actually a fog, but it is definitely a haze. Welcome on in from wherever you are in the world to Runway DFW. We provide live coverage of activities here at the big airport multiple times a week. We will be bringing you this is in 720p because of our connection limitations, but we'll be bringing you a 1080p replay of this later on when we can upload that. And if you've got to watch a plane taxiing in kind of misty conditions, I guess Spirit would be the one, because it's hard to miss with that bright yellow livery. Again, this is an A320, which will be lifting off to Las Vegas in the moments to come. It's been unseasonably warm here for this Christmas, New Year's time here in North Texas. It's in the mid to upper 60s right now, with a minor breeze from the south. But just, yeah, very unseasonably warm. There's an Alaska flight coming in behind the Spirit. That one looks to be headed to Phoenix. You can see all those American tails behind it, behind the Spirit flight. The American is, if this is your first Runway DFW excursion, American is by far the dominant airline here at DFW. American and American Eagle combined carry about 90% of the passenger traffic here. I'm going to pull out just a little bit so we can see the glorious sunrise here at DFW. When we were here last week, a Spirit aircraft taking off from that same position started rolling and then stopped and then returned to the takeoff line. Not sure what happened there, but the pilot obviously saw something that was subnominal, or else the control tower told them to wave it off. And as you can see, that plane kind of fades into the mist as it gets to the end of the runway. And what you saw coming in there as that plane was taking off was a, did I get that? There was a plane coming in from Shreveport, an American Eagle flight. Let's flip over here to the sunrise shot of Alaska Airlines. Don't have the flight number at this moment, but it's headed to Phoenix. Okay, so we've got some action. I'm seeing a Korean Air flight. Well, I guess it landed here as a Dreamliner coming in on a runway which we can't see from here on the far west side. Let me see if we can find it coming in here. I guess it's already at the gate. Let's see if we can find it. Should be over there somewhere at the international terminal. But as you can see, the international terminal is about 1.5 miles from where we are. And so I'm kind of, it is moving. But I am just not seeing it. I'm going by radar, of course, flight radar 24. But I'm not seeing the sky blue of the Korean Air livery over there anywhere at the moment. That flight utilized the kind of diagonal runway over to the east, on the west side of the airport. Let's see if we can pull that up here. And over on the left side of the picture is a runway that is utilized usually for overflow, but sometimes because of weather conditions or if the other runways aren't available for some reason. The runways we are, where we are is by the Runway DFW logo at the north end of those two yellow lines there to the left of center. Those are runways 18 left and 18 right, which is what we have a commanding view of. And the terminals are A, B, C, D, and E are all kind of on either side. There's 2 on this side and 3 on the other side of the airport. American Airlines and American Eagle have exclusive use of terminals A, B, and C. E is the terminal for other airlines, other domestic airlines, and then terminal D is the international terminal, which is where we had hoped to see the Korean Air flight coming in, but oh well. And that's the morning glow view of an American aircraft headed over to the east side for takeoff. That's a 777 Flight 2386 American Airlines, which will be on its way to Miami. So we won't get to see that one take off. Generally speaking, the takeoffs and landings on the east side are, I guess not unexpectedly, allocated to planes which are traveling in an easterly direction, and the converse is true for here on the west side. So on many mornings we would see that Korean Air flight coming in right in front of us, but for some reason it was diverted over to that parallel runway we showed you. Well, good morning from DFW International Airport. My name is Walt, and we've got a plane coming in. And this will be a Dreamliner, American Airlines Flight 1116, coming in from Kahului in Hawaii. I was seeing vapor trails coming in on the wings of some aircraft earlier. I didn't see any that time, but you might have a better view of this than I do. Since I'm looking at it on a little 2-inch screen. Coming up next, incoming will be an American flight 1595 from Austin, the capital of Texas. We'll just survey our domain here. That's Terminal D, the international terminal, with the, I think that's the Grand Hyatt Hotel adjacent to it, rising up from behind it. There is the central control tower here at DFW. There's 3 of them. That's the one in the middle. And that over there would be Terminal B, which is again an American, exclusive to American and American Eagle aircraft. There's the East Tower with the sun glowing there. Got a flight coming over the bridge here. It's another Spirit Airlines aircraft in its older livery, not the bright yellow one that we're now familiar with. This one's, it's an A320. It's going to be headed to Los Angeles once it gets way over here. And we'll watch that take off. But in the meantime, we're going to turn our attention to the skies where this 737 coming in from Austin is about to touch down. It's always nice to see the aircraft bisect the sun for us. And we'll turn our attention back to this Spirit Airlines aircraft, as if I can find it in the haze. There it is. I'm not sure how many of this livery remain in the Spirit fleet. Again, this will be flight 869, and it's going to be taken off for the City of Angels. Thank you all for tuning in to Runway DFW. This is our first broadcast of the final week of 2021. As the Spirit revs up, we've got a business type jet coming in. Didn't see that pop up on the radar. Beautiful morning here in North Texas. That must be a fully loaded plane because it's going all the way down there into the mist. And we'll shift our attention now to this American bird. That's coming in from San Antonio. An A321, flight 2012. While we've got a moment here, we'll flip over here to the UPS cargo area. And there, we were talking about towers earlier. That's the West Control Tower there in the background, but you can see a DC-10, I'm sorry, an MD-11, because I don't think UPS flies any DC-10s. FedEx does have a few of those. And what looks to be a 757 behind it, I think. It's hard to tell. If our camera would focus, we'd have a nice shot there. That is a statue of a child spreading his wings here at DFW Founders Plaza. And yeah, that didn't quite come into focus for us, did it? Our camera wants to lock into the aircraft. Oh well. Maybe we'll have better luck with this statue. There we go. Hello, frozen in time. Wah. Okay, we've got an American Eagle flight coming in from, looks to be Dayton, Ohio. It'll be a Embraer 175. As we swing our camera around 180 degrees. Thanks for tuning in to Runway DFW. And as always, we ask you to like and subscribe to our channel because that will help us grow. That will gain us visibility in the YouTube universe. We're not asking for any donations or anything like that right now. We just want you to help us get the word out about Runway DFW. Reverse thrust. And it's making a snappy left turn back to the terminal. American Flight 2726, which is coming in from Silao. And you know, I've got to bone up on my destinations here because Silao, it sounds like a place in Mexico, but I'm not sure. Help me out in the comments. So we're pointing our camera kind of towards the northeast right now, and from the left-hand side of your screen there, you can see this A319 lowering its flaps and getting ready to apply its tires to the tarmac. There's a long distance view of a plane which I can't quite identify at the moment, which took off from the east side of the airport. That looks to be a 777 American Flight 2567 on its way to the land of sun and fun in Miami. It is 7:54 here at Runway DFW. We've been on the air for about a half hour now. We hope to continue coverage until about 9 a.m. Central Time, as long as our batteries hold up. And we'd go longer, except I have a job to go to. So I can't just dilly-dally around DFW Airport all day long. That's what I'd like to do, but you gotta do what you gotta do. But we'll be back. And as I was saying earlier, this is a 720p stream because of our connection limitations here, but we are recording this locally in 1080p, so you'll have an HD version to go back to if you want to review what we've been looking at. This is American Flight 2429 landing from Monterrey in Mexico, an A319. Now, I was hoping the sunlight would burn off the haze, but it hasn't really had that effect yet. Let's take a look at the clouds. We had kind of a, I'm not a meteorologist, but there's some kind of a line of clouds there, as you can see. It was a little more pronounced before the sun came up. And we're back to a period of inactivity here at Runway DFW. But we're happy that you're with us. And see what else we can see. Well, we'll tell you a little bit about where we are. DFW has one public viewing area for plane spotters, and we'll swing around here and we'll show you what it is. It's called DFW Founders Plaza. And there's a parking area. There are picnic benches. There's a tower with a beacon which gets turned off at night. I mean, it turned off in the daytime, but it was spinning when we got here. And of course we see these flags which illustrate the wind velocity. It's currently coming pretty much straight out of the south. The forecast was for about 10 miles an hour. Not as bad as it's been recently. It's been really breezy and blustery here in the last few visits. Unfortunately, there's no power available to the public here. No place I can plug in, and there's no Wi-Fi, so we're kind of have to be self-sufficient, as most plane spotters have to be in this kind of position. So we've gone as long as 4.5 hours before in our longest broadcast. But that was using two different computers. We had to switch out in the middle so we could continue streaming. That's a look, all those tails there on the left, that's a look at Terminal A, as you see a plane taking off. And that, again, is an exclusively American Airlines terminal. And that's on the other side of the airport from where we are. And that plane you saw taking off behind it, that was an American Eagle Flight 9865 headed to Little Rock, Arkansas. But for this time of day, we've been here a lot at this time of day, and it is quieter than usual, and you would expect that on a Christmas week we'd be having a lot more traffic going in and out this morning. But I was listening on the radio coming in, and there were multiple reports of another day ahead of flight delays and cancellations for airline passengers because the Omicron variant of the coronavirus has struck flight crews, and if they feel symptoms, they can't come into work, and if they can't come into work and they're already booked solid with holiday flights, then something's got to give. And here at a major hub like DFW, it becomes even more critical because this is where connections are made, and maybe your flight coming in here worked, but the flight you're connecting to didn't get here, and so that means there's going to be unhappy passengers, or at least passengers who have been disadvantaged, or their plans have been squashed. So we have sympathy with them, and but we don't know exactly why it's so quiet right now. I'm looking at the other side of the airport, and there's looks like there's one plane that's getting ready to line up and take off, but aside from that, nothing. There is a Korean Air cargo flight. I'm going to see if we can. I don't think we'll be able to see it. It'll be coming in over there on the runway that we can't see, and I'm not sure we'll be able to see that flight. It's a Korean Air 777 cargo, and we might be able. It might. I don't know if we'll see any sign of it from here, which is unfortunate, because that would give us something to look at. So I have to be honest with you, this is not our most scintillating Runway DFW broadcast of the year. Because there's just not a lot going on. Of course, the UPS hub was just humming over the last 2 weeks with people, with packages being delivered and planes coming in and out. And we saw a couple 747 UPS cargo jets in there at the same time, and there was even a case of one plane which was 747 came in and had to wait until a 767 was moved out of position so that it could come in and park, and then the 767 was repositioned. It was just crazy over there. But right now it looks kind of calm. So thanks for sticking with us. We hope that things will get a little more active in the next hour or so. I'm going to check on something to see if we can look at the arrivals board for DFW. Okay, so we're going to add in right now, if we can. We're doing this live on the air. Okay, here's the DFW Flight Board. And I'm going to scroll through it here and see what we can see. So there's a flight to Newark, which has been delayed. An American flight to New York City, which has been canceled. A flight to Montrose, which has been canceled. A flight to Tucson, which has been delayed. Flight to Little Rock, which has been canceled. Flight to Newark, which has been canceled. A flight to Washington, D.C., which has been canceled. And this is all just within the next hour. Flight to Fort Wayne canceled. Flight to Rapid City delayed. So as you can see, there's just a lot going on here. Well, a lot not going on, I guess, is probably a better way to say it. Just unusually quiet. We're seeing an American aircraft headed over to the terminal area. American has hangars over here on the west side where they do some maintenance and disinfection and all that kind of stuff. And so the planes will travel over from that side over to this side. And is this the Korean flight here? I think it is. So there's the Korean Air cargo flight that had landed earlier, which we were not able to see. It's coming in from, I believe it was Anchorage, though it's not showing up on the radar anymore. Oops, there it is. But that's a pretty distinctive color, even through the mist. So I'm pretty sure that's the Korean Air flight. Yeah, it came in from Anchorage, flight 8241. And Anchorage is a major cargo hub. I mean, if you want to see 747s, I guess that's a place to go because they all seem to land there for refueling and for supplying the Alaskan economy. And that Korean Air flight is going to, you see it disappearing there, it's going to a cargo facility south of where we are that we can't see. So there, we did see something. Hooray for us at Runway DFW. There's a flight on the other side of the airport coming in from Guadalajara, which we probably, we'll just see the tail of it there. That's what we see when a plane lands on the east side of DFW. We don't see too much of it. There are a couple of flights kind of on their way in this direction. The next flight looks like it's going to be from an American Eagle flight from San Luis Potosí, Mexico. American Eagle flight. But it looks like it's headed toward the east side of the runway, or the east runway. So thanks for sticking with us. We're hoping that within the next hour that we'll be on the air here, or I guess 50 minutes or so, we'll see more. But I do have to say, this is the quietest I've seen it. I feel like I should be a golf announcer here at DFW Airport. There's nothing going on right now. There's a giant flag and a radar tower. But there's no planes. Where have all the planes gone? I feel like I should do a traffic report at this time or something. There's traffic on Highway 121 and 114. We don't even have any traffic to report on because it's a holiday week and a lot of people have the week off. And so, normally at this hour there'd be bumper to bumper traffic over there. So what else can we look at? We've got to get creative here. We have over here construction. What about that? They're building something. I have no idea what they're building over there. I do know they've closed the north remote parking facility. I was surprised to see that. I didn't see any. It didn't look like they were doing anything with it. It just looked like it was closed. And I'm looking over here. It's a flight coming in from Washington National Airport. Of which we won't be able to see too much more. There's a train. We can do train spotting. Dallas-Fort Worth Airport now has, as of I think last year, direct train rail service to downtown Dallas and to downtown Fort Worth. Not quite on a par with some of the other major international airports, I would say, but at least you can hop on a train and get to where you're going. We need some music now, just to kind of keep us calm and to let us know that something is coming. Something is coming. Well, here's a Delta flight coming in from Atlanta. And Delta is one of the airlines that has had some cancellation issues because of the coronavirus Omicron variant. And that's about all we're going to see of that plane. Might see the tail pop in there, but no. Okay. Well, this is fun times at DFW Airport. There's nothing lining up to take off. Just a few flights coming in. Not even any cargo action. It's just so quiet. We'll look at baggage trucks. Because why not? It's moving. It's runway adjacent. I didn't mean to do that. Another flight coming in here, Delta. And that's coming in from Atlanta. Did they just have two flights coming from Atlanta, or was I mistaken earlier? I'm never mistaken, so looks like all the operations currently are taking place on the east side of the airport, which again, we do not have a very good view of from our vantage point here. I can assure you that our future broadcast will be more action-packed than this one. Maybe it's just like a holiday lull or something. I expected, I wasn't here on Christmas Day. I would expect that on Christmas Day you might see something like this in terms of there not being as much activity as you would normally see. But again, because of the flight delays and cancellations that DFW Airport is showing us, we are looking at inactivity. Should we give you some statistics? Maybe we'll do that after we get another long distance aircraft shot here. That was, what was that? This flight American Eagle 3687 from Aguas Calientes down in Mexico. Looks like we do finally have a flight coming in on this side, but it's still a couple minutes away. But anyway, I was going to mention that this is one of the America's busiest airports. As of September, this was number 2 in the U.S., behind only Atlanta Hartsfield. Denver came in at number 3, which I wouldn't have expected Denver to be number 3 in terms of busiest airports. I don't know why, but just seems like that doesn't seem like they would have enough traffic there, but I guess they do. O'Hare is number 4, and Los Angeles is number 5 in terms of busiest airports. But you couldn't convince me that DFW was in the top 5 right now, because it's just not very busy. I gotta be honest with you. But we're getting a nice long look now at American Eagle Flight 3609 coming in from Morelia, Mexico, Embraer 175. I can see it now. It's our salvation here at Runway DFW. It's just going to be coming in beyond that utility pole there on the left. Finally, some Runway DFW action. We promised you action, and now we're delivering. I was going to turn this broadcast around as a 1080p replay. I don't know if I'm going to do that now. All right, well, now things are picking up. We've got an American Flight 1066 coming in from Mexico City, 737-800. Coming in from the north, landing to the south. Bienvenidos a los Estados Unidos. Over on the other side of the airport, coming in from Intercontinental Airport in Houston, it's a American Flight 2668, a Boeing 737. And again, we normally don't focus in on the flights coming in on the east side simply because we don't get a very long look at them, but it's kind of bonus content today from Runway DFW. Bonus as in, if we didn't take those pictures, we wouldn't have anything to show you. Okay, so what do you think are the largest airports in the US of A? That's in terms of how big their physical space is. And what you've got as number 1 is Denver. Denver International, 33.9 thousand acres. And DFW is a lot smaller than that, although it is one of the biggest airports in the country. It's number 2 at 17,000 acres. And that's one of the reasons we don't get as good access to the runways as perhaps some other airports which are more closed in. I mean, you look at LAX, you've got several places where you can get really good shots of up-close planes coming over you and at you and by you. And that's because it's more, it's territorially more restricted than DFW. This is so spread out. It was, it was planned to be this way, and so that's why it's so big, and it was designed to grow for the future. And so we just can't get as close as we can at some of these other airports, which have highways and bridges and parks right up close to them. The other biggest airports in the U.S., number 3, is Washington Dulles, which of course is out in the country, away from Washington proper. Orlando International is number 4, and our pals down in Houston at George Bush Intercontinental are number 5 as far as the largest airports in the USA. And that's a look at the largest airports in the USA. An exclusive feature of Runway DFW. Okay, we're into our second hour of broadcasting here, and we've got about another, 35 minutes left. Hopefully it'll pick up. We do have on the radar now a flight coming in from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. American Flight 977, an A319. We will swing over and pick up that arrival for you. And you're not going to see this flight arriving on any other airport channel. And speaking of airport channels, there are a number of them here on YouTube. We've tried to model ourselves on some of the things we've seen on the other channels. I think I was first introduced to airplane spotting channels by Big Jet TV over in London with Jerry Dyer. And he puts on a fantastic show. In fact, over the weekend he was doing some streams to raise money for charity, which was great. And he's a very unique personality, and he has plenty to say even when there's nothing going on. And he'll sing to you, that Jerry will, when at a moment's notice. He's got quite a repertoire. I'm also a fan of the channels out at LAX, based at LAX, Airline Videos Live with Kevin, and LA Flights with Peter and his brother. They do great jobs, and it just goes to show you that even when you've got more than one channel operating out of an airport, it just means you're going to have that much more content. More for viewers like you. So I'm glad to be a part of that community. That was American Eagle Flight 3156 from Chihuahua, Mexico. And once again, our arrival screens are fairly empty right now. As we survey our domain. We have a nice comment from Toby Akbas, who says, "Good morning, this is great, and we're so happy that you like it. And we hope that you and the others watching will like and subscribe to Runway DFW. That will help us grow. As we grow, we will get more people watching and seeing what we do, and hopefully it'll become a nice option for people who like to watch planes coming and going." So we thank you all for your support and for your for hanging out with us. Maybe there's not a lot going on, but at least it's a way to spend an hour or so. We do have a flight coming in now. It's another American Eagle aircraft from Colorado Springs. It'll be American Eagle Flight 3149, operated by SkyWest. Whenever I hear SkyWest, I think of Sky King. And for those of you of a certain age, you might remember Sky King was a TV show for kids, focused on a kind of a Western rancher who had a twin-engine plane which he would use to go on adventures and rescue people and deliver things, and it was just kind of an aeronautical take on a Roy Rogers kind of bit. I would watch that faithfully every week. So now we're going to turn our attention to this flight from Colorado Springs coming in. We have not had any... Oh, look at a train. This is the train from Fort Worth. I guess it's going to disappear behind a wall there. Anyway, here's the flight from Colorado Springs. Train spotting, plane spotting, you get it all here at Runway DFW. Things are starting to pick up a little bit now. We've got an American Eagle flight coming in from Roswell, New Mexico, home of UFOs. A CRJ 701ER. And I know it's not exactly an A380 or a 747 or even a Dreamliner, but it is a plane and it is landing here, so we must welcome it with open arms. And we're just stalling it till it gets in our field of vision. I can see it, but you probably can't yet. But once again, this is from Roswell, ladies and gentlemen. If only it would be in focus. Oh, there it is. I smell some jet fuel, and that means that we've got a UPS flight getting ready to blast off, or at least it's warming up. It's that one there. Its marker lights are flashing. I don't see it on the radar yet, but you can definitely smell it from here. The intoxicating fumes of jet fuel. So we'll keep an eye on that for all of y'all as we shift our focus once again back to the northern side of DFW, where a flight from Albuquerque is coming in, American Flight 2335, 737-800. Which again, you can't see it yet. I can see it on the radar. And you can probably hear in the background, oh, we missed a takeoff. There's a plane actually taking off. No. Chalk that one up to distraction. Because I really had my eyes set on this 737 from Albuquerque. So we're going to bring that to you live on Runway DFW. You can see it disappearing into the haze there at the southern end of DFW Airport. And it makes the left-hand turn towards the terminal area. And we do have some activity here, finally. As far as taking off goes, we've got a big Dreamliner headed to Phoenix, American Flight 520. As we mentioned in previous broadcasts, American has announced plans to repurpose its Dreamliner fleet for international use. It has been using these big birds for domestic flights during the pandemic when international flights were disrupted. But this bad boy's going to Phoenix. There's a 737-800 coming in from West Palm Beach. And here goes the Phoenix-bound plane. up and away. Next up, another American flight. Be a 737-800 to Denver. And that's as an inbound flight from Wichita is just about to pass in front of us. That land as we head back here. Definitely got some planes taking off now. This is kind of what we're more accustomed to. What we like to call double barrel action here in Texas. It's feast or famine day here at DFW Airport, where we either get a truckload of planes taking off and landing at the same time, or crickets chirping. And it's like these planes are just taking off as soon as the tires lift from the runway of the previous takeoff. Which I'm sure is a lot more entertaining for y'all out there. As far in as we can zoom. If my glancing is correct, I think this plane is headed to Seattle. But I'm not sure where that other plane we saw landing came from. It looked to be a SkyWest. Next up, this looks to be a flight to Austin, an A321 flight, American Flight 1059. And in front of us will pass an American flight which is landing from El Paso. Flight radar is kind of jumbled up right now. At least I can't make out what's coming and going here. I knew there was a plane taking off there, I just couldn't pick it out. Let's see if we can sort out what's happening here. Lots of tails moving. Looks like we've got an Embraer 175 on its way to Boise. It's American Flight 3741. And behind it is another flight, which I'll have to pick up in a minute. As you can see, as the sun is coming up, we're at kind of a slightly disadvantaged view here because everything is backlit. So it makes it a little more dramatic looking, but not quite as clear as you might hope. The message from Bob Bell. Greetings from Ohio. Well, hi there, Ohio. I hope it's nice and mild there where you are, because right here it's almost balmy. I've spent a lot of time in Ohio. My wife's mom was from Ohio, and in her later years we spent a lot of time in the Cleveland area. And Cleveland really gets a bad rap, I must say. It's a really lovely place. Nice place to hang out, lots of fun things to do. So hats off to Cleveland. More double-barreled action for you. And whether you're watching from Cleveland or Ohio or anywhere around the world, welcome to Runway DFW, your home for live DFW Airport activities. And we hope to grow this channel here on YouTube, and we can only do it with your help. So if you'd be one of our charter subscribers, there aren't too many of you yet, you can say in the future, when this becomes a behemoth of internet broadcasting, you can say, I was in on the ground floor of that. That 737-800 that just landed was coming in from Kansas City. And the flight that took off, I think it was going to Monterrey. Can't tell. This would appear to be an A321 on its way to Phoenix. I think we had not long ago, was it not, a Dreamliner, American Dreamliner was going to Phoenix. Hardly a moment to catch our breath here at DFW. sure where this aircraft is going. The one behind it, next in line, is going to Puerto Vallarta, one of the top international destinations from here at DFW. We've got double arrivals coming in on the other side. I don't know if we can catch this. Here, you can see it there. There are 3 parallel north-south runways on the east side of DFW, and they are utilizing 2 of them now for arrivals. And here goes the morning flight to Puerto Vallarta. As we squint into the sunlight, let's give you a time check here. It's 8:57. Is that 8:57? Oh, it is. (8:57) Central Time, of course. Central Standard Time. And we're about to sign off here from Runway DFW. As your host must attend to the needs of his employer. As you can see, it's getting quite busy now as we approach the 9 o'clock hour. I have to say, this was kind of like the finale of a fireworks show. We had kind of pedestrian fireworks, or no fireworks leading up to it, and then all of a sudden we've got planes coming and going like there's no tomorrow. But that'll do it for us for today's broadcast. We are so glad that you could spend a little bit of time with us. We'll be back later this week on an undetermined day. It's undetermined mainly because of weather and because of wind conditions and how we have to, if the wind is coming in from the north, we don't get a very good look at the planes. And if the weather is hazy or foggy, we don't get to see anything. So we will, if you click the notification button, you'll be able to see when we're going to broadcast next. Please like and subscribe to our channel. And we have a nice thank you from Toby. I hope you have a nice day too. We're so glad that you could join our little club here today. And I hope you'll watch again. I feel like Carol Burnett, it comes the time you have to say goodbye. Don't really want to go, but gotta move on to our job. So please like and subscribe. We'll be back with you later. There's more content on our channel, including our first 4K endeavor from over the weekend, which kind of shows the potential of 4K, at least here. And so, thanks again for watching. As we say here in Texas, happy contrails to you until we meet again. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.